Hello everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a little project to share with you today, but first I gotta show you how we are getting our supplies for this project. This is a really beautiful nutcracker that I picked up from a child's dream. It is just a work of art. So I am using it to crack these walnut shells. Now it doesn't always crack quite this perfectly, so it's about 50-50 where you get like these really good shells, and you can see on the other side it didn't crack so well. So we are going to be using these walnut shells as well as these little wooden beads in order to create these little projects that you can make within a walnut shell. Now I've got them in all these different sizes, and we're going to use the two smaller ones that have holes, but don't worry, the holes aren't going to show. I want to show you some of the other projects that we've done in the past right there, and though I'm not making this one today, you can make these little walnut shells into little sailboats, which are super adorable and really cute. But today we are going to be making little walnut shell babies. We're going to use the walnut shell like a little crib, and we are going to put a little baby inside. So it's super cute and adorable. You could add a string to this and make it into an ornament, or these could be really cute little gifts. They are really small, so I advise you to be careful if you have young children under the age of 3, because I think they could pose a choking hazard. Alright, so I've just added some glue to the top of this little wood bead, and I have cut a really small triangle piece out of my felt, and I'm using that as a little baby bonnet. It does take a little time to hold this in place because some of the glue does absorb into the felt, so you just want to hold on to it for a few seconds while it cools and dries. So I've got some wool here and just want to make a tiny little body for this little baby, and I am adding the wool to the bottom of the wood bead. Now this is one way to do it. I'm going to show you 5 different ways that you can make these walnut shell babies. So this is the first way. So I'm going to add some glue to the base of that walnut shell, and I'm just going to put this whole little baby right inside there. And now I want to make the baby a blanket because we want to make sure that she stays nice and warm, or that he stays nice and warm. And I realized that there just needs to be a little bit more, like I should have made more of like a cushion before I put the baby in. So I'm going to add some more wool batting into that little shell. And I'm just using my paper piercer just to kind of get it in, but you could use a pencil or your finger. And then I added some glue, and then I can add that little blanket right on top. And it looks super cute and adorable. I just love it. So now I am going to be making another one, and I'm making all the bonnets basically the same. So I'm just adding glue to that wood bead, and I'm just having a little triangle piece of wool felt for the little bonnet. So for this one, I decided to kind of add that wool to begin with. So I made another little body out of some more of that wool batting. So the base of it was in green, and then the top was in that undyed color. But none of it's going to show because this little baby needs a blanket too. So I have just added some glue on either side of the inside of the walnut shell so I can tuck that blanket inside. So I really like the way this one turned out too. The green is really beautiful, and it just looks like such a cozy little baby. So now we're going to make another one, and I have a lot of scraps in my felt drawer, and so I am really pulling all these scraps and seeing how they can work. So this one has kind of a little cover on top. So we're going to add some wool to the base of that walnut shell, and then again it just looks super cute inside. I had to use a really tiny ball for that one because the larger ball just wasn't fitting underneath that little cappy part of the crib or the little cradle. Now for this one, I'm going to make the baby really small so that it fits inside, and I've also added a little bit of wool there to make the body, and then we're going to cover it with another little piece to make the blanket. So again, just going to add that felt in a little triangle shape to the wood bead, and instantly it just looks like a cozy little baby. So here's another alternative on how to make a baby, and I make these all the time for our peg dolls and our finger puppets, and that's just to use kind of a triangular piece of felt, and I've added some wool to the front of it, or rather to the inside. You just kind of wrap it up so it looks like it's a baby that's being swaddled, and so now you just want to put the head on with, again, quite a bit of glue, and you kind of have to hold it there for a little bit because a lot of that glue is absorbed into the wool, and then you want to just have a little bit of glue at the very bottom there, otherwise the wool starts to kind of come out of that little blanket. And there it is super cute. It's just kind of looks like a little mummy. It's all just kind of cozied up in there. So again, I'm going to add some wool to the bottom of that walnut shell, make it nice and cozy and soft for that little baby. And for this one, I'm going to add kind of a little handle. And so again, I've just used a little scrap piece of wool. It's just long and just a really long strip basically. And then I'm going to cover the top part of that wool with a little bit of green felt. You could also just leave it without. I kind of wish I had left it without because I think it looks kind of cute with just that soft wool. And that's it. This is like a freestanding baby. It's quite a bit smaller than the ones that I make for my finger puppets, so it's really tiny, but it's going to work well for this last one that I'm going to make, where I again make the baby removable so you can take him out of the little walnut shell. So those are the little babies that we made for this project. A couple of them can come out of their little walnut shells, like this one here, which is super cute, and then you can put in the other ones. So there they all are. They are super cute and adorable. My kids really love them. They're easy to get lost, so you want to keep an eye on them. If you want to see some of the other projects that we are doing, you can tap on the screen right now. I've left a couple of videos that might interest you, and if you want to see what we're up to on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.